This show is not personal financial advice. We cover broad principles, break the silence on issues impacting everyday Americans, and point you towards the tools to take ownership. You should always do your own research and consult with a tax professional or a licensed investment advisor for guidance tailored to your personal situation. Welcome to the Backwoods Money podcast, the show where we break the silence on issues that impact the personal finances of everyday people. I'm your host, Dalton, and I hope that you're all having a great Labor Day. Whether you are resting, working, or spending time with your family, we're glad that you've decided to join us today. Before getting into today's discussion, let's talk about some recent news in the personal finance world. The Social Security Cost of Living Adjustment forecast for 2026 is estimated to increase by 2.7%, but that number is not set in stone yet. This increase does help, but remember that it is not a saving grace. These cost of living adjustment raises often lag behind inflation. We can't stress enough the importance of planning ahead with retirement because just Social Security is not an ideal retirement situation. The Federal Reserve has hinted that there may not be rate cuts until early 2026. It feels like this has changed a lot lately, and you're probably all sick of hearing about it already. And remember, nothing is official yet, and church is not over until the fat lady sings. To everyday people, that means that interest rates are going to stay high. That's mortgages, credit cards, and car loans. Another benefit of rate cuts are that they usually help stock prices. Usually, knock on wood, even talks about rate cuts can positively impact the stock market. A new study released by the Mortgage Bankers Association said that mortgage delinquencies have hit a 7-year high. 3.93% of mortgages, so that's almost 4 out of every 100, are delinquent, with 1.11%, so that's 1 in 100, being seriously delinquent, which means 90 days or more past due. If you have a mortgage or you are planning to have a mortgage, this is your wake-up call. You have to plan and budget for your mortgage payments. That payment is not optional. Don't let your lifestyle outweigh your budget. Remember that you don't have to keep up with the Joneses because they are probably in crippling debt too. The next segment comes from a Twitter, better known these days as X, thread that we had jumped into recently. By the way, if you're not following us on Twitter, check us out at Backwoods_Money. Today we are talking about tipping culture, what's generous, what's questionable, and the inevitable guilt trip when the tablet is spun around on the counter. To start, before anybody attacks me for this, I do believe in tipping at least 20% when you are served. That's part of budgeting. If you can't afford that, you should not be eating out. Again, that is for sitting down at a table and being served. Remember that most wait staff are making less than $3 an hour and heavily depend on those tips. And that is no easy job in most restaurants. Now, on the other hand, if I am walking in and picking up a to-go order, there's not that same level of service there. I am very less likely to tip there. We have lost the line between service and transaction at that point. And sorry, but with minimal service situations like pouring a single cup of coffee or grabbing a bagel out of the counter, I'm probably gonna want my change back. Or if I'm paying with a debit card, I'm probably gonna press the option for 0% when the little tablet is spun around in my direction. And what blows my mind about this is I even read replies on that thread about people being asked to tip at food courts, stadium concession stands, and gas pumps. And yes, I do mean the self serve gas pumps. It's almost like tipping has become a moral test. You feel like you're going to be judged for not tipping, even if there's no actual service being provided. I have even heard of situations where people win hand pays at casinos, which is where you win an amount so large that they have to physically bring it out to you, typically with a tax form as well. But you're expected to tip the person, the team member that brings the hand pay out to you. Now, I know I'm probably going to get some hate from at least somebody out there, but I want to clarify that I'm not saying that tipping in those situations is wrong. What I am saying is that I personally am not likely to tip in that situation. If there's no service being provided, I don't feel like a tip is justified in that situation. And while I was thinking out this episode about the tipping culture and the little tablet being spun around to you that has the tip options on it, that made me think of another situation, and that's the charity roundups. That would be like when you're at a self checkout at the grocery store and it asks you if you want to round up to the nearest dollar to donate to whatever cause it is they're supporting that day. And honestly, I am a little mixed on these. I do feel like generosity is very important, and this does give people a very easy way to do that. Now, I'm not even sure if the entire amount is donated, but I usually don't round up in those situations. I would rather give on my own terms directly to an organization that I support, rather than rounding up so a mega corporation can write off my change as a tax deduction. So, how do you feel about that? Do you tip in those situations? Do you only tip when a service is provided? Reach out to us at Backwoods_money on Twitter. We would love to hear your input on that, whether you do or not. This week, I'd like to challenge you to create a simple household budget if you haven't already done so. That is where taking ownership and accountability of your personal finances starts. We do encourage having a line item for either tithing or generosity in some way on your budget. We have a free one-page budget template available on our website, or if you do prefer to use an app, there are many out there. If you are looking at apps rather than using a pen and paper budget, I personally recommend the Every Dollar app by Ramsey Solutions, as it not only focuses on your budget, but it also has an area to track your debts, very similar to how we laid out our free template, because debt tends to creep in and take control of your budget if you don't address it. As always, I want to thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen to our podcast. If you have any questions or topics that you would like to hear in a future episode, please reach out to us at www.backwoodsmoney.com. Again, that is www.backwoodsmoney.com.